Yes, good evening to the private international law, that is advanced private international law students, and read what I posted on the screen. Read what I posted on the screen.
To think of uniform private international law rules is like a dream which will not come true, and therefore there is a need to resort to more feasible options such as bilateral agreement between nations and issues arising out of matrimony. Like Britain has done, to resolve the issues of conflict of law in matrimony, the British Parliament came up with the Foreign Judgment Reciprocal Enforcement Act of 1933.
Yes, Professor Dr. Mohammed Saheb Hussain. So that is there is no uniformity would be there, and hence one should have to do the bilateral or multilateral, or we have to make it out a reciprocal recognition and enforcement of the foreign judgments. Okay, let us see the marriage and matrimonial causes in private international law and how the issues in common law countries. And India is a common law country and Tanzania also a common law country, and hence the same would be applicable and what it is said in this essay. Of course, I downloaded from the net one of the essay, and this we are going to deal today. So when you see the introduction, despite the changes in society in recent decades, because society always changes from time to time, and there remains much truth in the Lord's Westbury's dictum in Shaw versus Gold, that is the case law. I quote, marriage is the very foundation of the civil society. Marriage is very foundation of the civil society, and no part of the laws and institutions of a country can be of the more vital importance to its subject than those which regulate the manner and condition of forming. That means a marriage is the very foundation of civil society. Sir, why the people should marry? Anyone? Anyone? Unmute and give me that. Why the one should have to marry? What wrong? Because in the animals they don't marry. Yes? Please unmute and give me the answer, or you say pass on.
They marry so that to have a mutual concerning to the issue of cohabit.
Issue of quality is there for marriage. Marriage is to be conducted because progeny means after your death, who will be your, the continuation would be there, the chain would be continued. Number one. Number two, it is a biological phenomena to marry. Number three, you cannot have a sex with each and everybody, and who will take care of you at the old age? Marriage is a bond. It is a recognition that you are a wife and husband, and the cohabitation will not be illegal, and the children born to you, naturally you will take care of them, and when you become old, the children will take care of you. Are you following me? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
So one day, of course, I don't know whether in your society, father and son together will sit in the bar, they drink. Of course, here they are very social. So father and son both sitting in the bar and drinking the alcohol, a whiskey. Then father told, of course, said to the son, son, you should never marry because marriage is a burdensome and it takes a lot of your energy, and we are work for the sake of the children and all those things. Better not to marry. And he will give the suggestion to the say
Father.
father giving suggestion to the son. Both are drunken. Do you know what the son said? Dad, father, yes, I will also say the same thing to my children. Did you get my point? The son
Yes,
says to
yes,
the
yes.
father, Dad, father, I will also say the same dialogue to my son, my children. What it means? What it means?
He is going to marry.
He is going to marry. Why you are taking that much time to explain me? So marriage is a bond, it's a civil society, it's the recognition and develop the progeny, satisfy the sexual urge, and we cannot make the like animals do it. And no part of the laws and institutions of a country can be more vital importance to the subject than those which regulate the manner and condition of the forming. Of course, when you marry, there are certain conditions are there. What is the conditions for the essential marriage in Tanzania? Anyone? What are the conditions?
You are not allowed to marry again.
Say.
It must be a union between a man and a woman.
What are the conditions? Yes, they should be the opposite sex. Okay. Next. Over. Is there any ceiling would be there regarding age? Because international instrument says a marriageable age is for the woman or girl it is 18 years and for the boy is 21 years. But now, because if you marry early 18 years, of course the body parts of the woman will not be grown that but matured. Better both should be 21 years or a light difference between the 25 and 21. So at that time, the organs will be grown and maturity will come and the progeny, sibling will be the wise and they are good and sharp also. So there are certain conditions are there for the valid marriage. Age is there, condition, and there should not be consanguinity. Blood relation should not be there. Are you following me? Say yes.
Yes.
There are certain
Yes,
conditions are there for the marriage. Please see. Because what is the act is there for the marriage in Tanzania?
The Law of Marriage Act.
The Law of Marriage Act, you see the provisions. What are the essential condition is there to get married? So that it is why I am giving this thing means certain laws should be followed over there. That's my point. No part of the laws and institutions of a country can be of more vital importance to its subject than those which regulate the manner and condition of forming and, if necessary, of dissolving the marriage contract. So there are conditions there for the valid marriage. There are also condition is there for the judicial separation. There are also the conditions there for the divorce. And by that condition, one will get a sanction from the court. So that was the say. It is observed in the Shah versus Gold case law, and that is put it in the double inverted comma. So these are the things. There are rules and regulations there, and the recognition would be there. Sir, why the people will marry without making any, say in the marriage, I don't know, there would be some music is there, and some get together is there, and the people will be come, and there is a videographer is there, photos will be taken. Why the videographer and photos? Anyone? Why that you have to call all the people? Tell me.
They are witnesses of the marriage.
Number one, they are the witnesses of marriage. Number two, everybody knows they are the wife and husband and living together and procreating the children and taking care of the children. Recognition would be there in the society, and the canvassing should be there, advertisement should be there. Are you following me? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
So that
Yes,
is the
Prof.
reason you will invite the people and you will distribute the wedding cards. Could you keep in the children are not allowed in the marriage? Could you keep such a caution in the wedding card? Yes? I am asking the question. If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, you say pass on. I will give the answer.
Sir, pass on.
Why you are taking so much time to say pass on? See, naturally, it is a bad way. We should not print like that. Children are not allowed. But in certain places, Kikavu, they said the children don't bring the children because they dance together, they drink together. So that is having the impact on the children. But actually, the drinking session and dancing session, okay, good. But in front of the children, if you drink it, if you smoke it, and if you have affairs with somebody else, and they will get the impact would be there. So certain places they say children are not allowed. But in other places, there is no such a drinking would be there. For instance, you take in the marriages in India, there is no drinking session is there. And only food session is there. At that time, it is not a taboo to bring the children over there in India. How about in Tanzania? Boozing session is there or not?
It's there.
It is there. It is there, yeah. But one marriage I attended, Amna boozing session, only soda. Only soda. Okay, come to the marriage. Come to the point. A recognition should be there. And advertisement should be there. And the rules should be followed over there. And the progeny and the children born will not be said to be the extramarital children. They are the valid children of the father and mother. Okay, now English law what says? A marriage through a contract is a contract sui generis. Now in Tanzania, whether the marriage is a contract or whether the marriage is a sacrosanct. Yes? Give me the answer or say pass on. Either give me the answer or you say pass on.
Please
Can you
repeat.
repeat it?
In Tanzania, whether marriage is a contract or sacrosanct event.
It is a contract.
It is a contract, Prof.
If it is a contract, why the people go to the church and they marry over there and take the oath? It is both. It is a sacrosanct, sanctity is there. Number one. Number two, it is a contract also. Whether you sign on the paper or in the book, in the church, give me the answer. Do you make the signature on the paper or a book? Marriage book.
Yes, there is.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So that is a contract. And taking the oath in front of the Jesus Christ or the Father or Parokia, it is a sacrosanct. So in the both the things, India, in the Mohammedan law also, in India we say it is both sacrosanct as well as the contract. In Hindu law also, it is the same thing. It is a sacrosanct and contract. So each legal system determines the attributes of the marriage. So see, legal system is vary because some of the, and how many types of the marriages are there in Tanzania? There is a civil marriage, there is a customary marriage, there is a religious marriage, and all are valid marriage. Is it? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And because I read it, the Supreme Court of India has given the judgment. A Arya Samaj, because that is one of the organization is there for the Hindus, if they organize the marriage and give the certificate, it is not valid because institution will not make such a thing. It doesn't have such a power to issue the certificate of marriage. But the register of the marriage, he can issue it because it is by the statute, we can register it, the registration of the marriage, and he will issue the certificate. Yes, it is valid. Are you following me? Say yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. At common law in England, it is in a sense, a consensual union of a man and a woman. And a marriage was voluntarily union for life for one man with one woman to exclusion of others. So it is ethical values are there. A married woman will not sleep with the other woman because it is a taboo, it is unethical. This decision was the foundation of the rule that polygamous marriages were not recognized in England. Whether the polygamy is there in Tanzania?
It is there under Islamic religion.
Yes, only up to the 4. Did you see anybody at the present juncture, the digital world, now a man is having the 4 wives? Yes, Muslim man. Did you see in Monza or in Tanzania, a person is having the 4 wives? Only grandfather, great grandfather might be having that. But now, 1 wife is equivalent to 4 wives because of the expenditure. Is it clear? Only theoretically it will be there, practically none. So this decision was the foundation. So where we are, polyandry, yes. So polygamous marriages are not there. It is not recognized in Tanzania also. And Christian marriages, Christianity also monogamous marriage. Monogamous only 1 husband, 1 wife. Monogamous, not polygamous. If a woman having the many husbands is called a woman having the many husbands is known as
Polyandry.
Polyandry.
Either you say Pasan or give me the answer.
Polyandry.
Polyandry. But in India, there is one sect is there in the that near to the Himalayas. The 1 wife is having the 2 husbands, and she will sleep with the 2 husbands and procreate the children. That's the common factor there. Of course, certain places are there, but now only 1 husband and 1 wife. So this decision was the foundation of the rule that polygamous marriages were not recognized in England, but the situation has been changed and such marriages are now recognized in England. I don't know whether they do marry the 2. I don't believe that. Of course, law will change it because that fellow could, I don't think that, it depends upon the country to allow it or not to allow it. But as for the Bible is concerned, And as for the mythological is concerned, the Christian only monogamous marriage, only one wife and one husband. So now let us see that what the Hague Convention says. The Hague Conference on the Private International Law has drafted the Hague Convention and the celebration and recognition of the validity of a marriage in 1978. So there is an international instrument is there, how we can recognize, how we can celebrate, and how we can make the marriage is a valid marriage. And the few common law states have adapted it, like Australia being the only exceptions, having amended the Australian Marriage Act 1961. Is there any amendment for the Law of Marriage Act? Is it 1967? Please tell me, Tanzania. Law of Marriage Act. Sir, we don't know. Let me check it. The Law of Marriage Act in Tanzania. Which year? I think, to my knowledge, it is 1967. Oh, no. I am wrong. 1971.
1971.
Yes, 1971. So Act number 5 of 1971, and it will drafted over there, and it will allow only the monogamous marriage. So it says that an act to regulate the law relating to the marriage, personal and property rights as between the husband and wife, separation, divorce, and everything will be given in the Law of Marriage Act. Okay. So now let us go back to our point. Yes. So there is a Marriage Act of 1971 is there, and I believe there is amendments are there. Is it or not? Any amendment is made in the Marriage Act of 1971? Answer? Sir, we don't know.
There is, sir.
Yeah, because when I teaching to the UDSM, they says a form, there are certain amendments are made in the Law of Marriage Act. But in India, a lot of amendments are there. So now the Law Commission in the United Kingdom, do you have a Law Commission in Tanzania? Sir, we have only Tanganyika Law Society. Are you following me? There is a Law Commission is there. It will read and it will give the loopholes of a act. And it will give the suggestion also. Because they are all practicing lawyers and well versed in the law. The commission, of course, it is appointed by the, I think it is the president. Yeah. It is a regulation. It is an act is there. With that act, they will pass on it. And who will make the enactments here? External Affairs Ministry? Not. There is a law department there in the ministry. Is it or not? Is it or not?
There is, sir.
And they will enact the laws, and it will be shown to the experts also to make any changes are needed. And then, but in the Law Commission, it will take the act and will read it and thoroughly and give the loopholes in it. Tanganyika Law Society will give such a suggestion to the government after making the act, or before it is implemented over there. Do they send to the Tanganyika Law Society to see whether there is a loopholes are there? Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's good always, because sometimes man errs. It is true, because he writes by thinking in one angle, but it leads to the another angle also, the mode of thinking. So they will try to modify the words. That's why interpretation of statutes are there. And the interpretation of statutes, it will say that, yes, the intention of the parliamentarian is at the time, it is there, but such intention is now suits to the present situation or not. And it is very interesting subject. I don't know. Do you have the interpretation of the statutes in your syllabus, in your course? Yes? Do you have interpretation of the statute, a subject or a course or a paper in your 4 years of LLB?
Yes, it is part of the legal methods subject.
I say separate a paper. Say yes or no. Say yes or no.
Pass on.
What pass on? You studied LLB and you don't know the interpretation of statute. A subject, a separate subject is there or not. And you say pass on. If you just see the syllabus timetable, you could know it. What are the subjects are available in the first year to final year, first semester, second semester, third semester, fourth semester, fifth semester, sixth semester, and seventh and eighth semester.
It is taught in the legal methods, Prof. It's not a separate subject.
Now, I would like to call on, because we had a meeting with the Professor Mahalu, the syllabus should be revised. There should be a separate paper in the interpretation of statutes, because it is a high challenging one. It is a challenging one, the subject. And if it is there, I am going to teach that subject. I would like to be a course coordinator for the subject, because I taught that subject many years. And I do have some grip in the interpretation of the statutes. It should be a separate subject. Okay, let us come to the point. The law here, the law commission is not there, but Tanganyika Society will take care of to see that how the cases, it is drafted, and whether they followed the international instruments, the Hague Conference, the conventions or not. They will also check it, and they will raise the age of the bride or bridegroom, means man and a woman. So these things will be done by it. So let us go to the another point is India. Of course, India, there is a commission is there, and people will write it, and the people will challenge it also. If suppose if any provision is not, it is contradictory to the constitution, they will challenge it and go to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court says yes, that provision should be null and void. And if you happen to see the what is the act? Because it is a government act. What is that? How is the government act? What is that? I forgot it. We can sue the government. There is an act is there, but earlier section 6 says before suing the
government.
Yes, say.
The Government Proceedings Act.
Yes. The Government Proceeding Act, Section 6, if you happen to see, if you want to sue the government, you have to take the fiat, F-I-A-T, fiat, means the permission from the government. Could the government give the permission to sue? Answer, no. And hence, I am sure that Section 6 is amended, and they say, you need not to go, but you have to give the notice to the government and wait for the 90 days. If the answer is did not come, yes, you can sue the government. Because I found the amendment was there when I was teaching the Government Proceeding Act in the law of talks. Okay, now let us come to the point here. A contract to marriage differs fundamentally upon the commercial contract, since it creates a status that affects the parties themselves and the society to which they belong. It is a sui generis. What is meant by sui generis? Can anyone tell me? What is meant by sui generis? Sir, we know it, but we forget it. Let us make you to understand, so that even myself also wrong, what is this? I said only sui generis. Sui generis. A sui generis meaning, read what is there. Read.
Sui generis is a Latin expression that translates to of its own kind. It refers to anything that is peculiar to itself, of its own kind or class. In legal context, sui generis denotes an independent legal classification.
Yes, it is an independent legal classification having its own way of the dealing. So that is called the sui generis. So marriage is a sui generis, each one having the own type of the marriages. It is a fulfilled on the solemnization of the marriage ceremony. So solemnization is there in the marriage ceremony. In India also, the Christian Marriage Act is there. So if you want to solemnize the marriage, you have to give the notice to the I think a father, and who is in charge of it, and the government recognize it, and he will put the notice on the notice board and the conspicuous place that so and so person is going to marry so and so. If anybody is having any objection, please bring to our notice. Is such a notice is given in the Tanzania? Yes, in the in any church. I think yes, you are supposed to write
To exhaust. I don't think it's a
No, but we will intimate to the father, no? You belong, you are a Pentecostal, or you are a Roman Catholic, or you a Protestant, or what is that? Seventh day Adventist, or diocese, and you have to give the notice to him that so and so day that you are going to marry it. Otherwise, they may be busy with some other activity and they will lose it, and the congregation will not be there on the day, or because the marriage is there, okay, daily services for some time, and a notice should be given to the father. I don't know whether it will be posted on the conspicuous place that whether the two people are going to marry. If anybody is having any objection, they bring to the notice of it. But a marriage which is conducted over there, it definitely will go to the registrar office for the registration. Did you have a marriage certificate? Suppose if you are married. Sir, I am not married, sir. Remand.
Yes, we have the certificate.
Even myself also have taken the certificate from the Waqf board, because we have a board where the Muslim marriages are conducted over there. Because certain countries, if you want to travel, you have to show them a marriage certificate that she is my wife. But I told them, see, already there in the passport, my wife and my father, my mother, who are there. But they say, no, marriage certificate should be needed over there. Again, that will be authenticated by the government again. They say some places, some countries. Okay, now let us come to the, it is marriage is of its own kind and class, and there will not be any, there would not be any common factors like, but certain things are very much common because we are the party to the international conventions. Hence, in India, in Tanzania also, what is the marriageable age for the Tanzania? I'm not speaking about the religious marriage, and I'm not speaking about the customary marriage. I'm speaking about the civil marriage. Yes? Haraka. Please check the Law of Marriage Acts once again. Okay, now let us come to because there are certain conditions are there, they fulfill it, otherwise the marriage is said to be invalid marriage. As far as the matrimonial causes are concerned, they are newly generally taken into include petition for divorce, nullity of marriage, judicial separation, and presumption of death, and dissolution of marriage, as well as similar foreign proceedings which may fulfill recognition here. I don't know whether you studied or not. There are certain conditions for which one you can go for the dissolution of marriage or take the divorce. Are you following me? There are certain conditions are there, and that conditions a woman or a man can go for the dissolution of the marriage. Of course, when the dissolution of marriage, it will be implemented by keeping certain reservation, at least 6 months it will keep it, so that they can reconcile each other. We cannot file a case because there is a probation period would be there, whether there is a reconciliation or not between them, and then it will be taken into consideration. So, meaning of marriage is a contract by which a man and a woman express their consent to create a relationship of a husband and a wife. And this contract, however, differs fundamentally from the commercial contract in the following ways. Commercial contracts are different and the marriage contracts are different. As a general rule, it can be concluded by formal public act. Number two, it can only be dissolved by formal public act. Yes, there is provisions are there for the dissolution of the marriage. And more importantly, it creates a status which is taken into account in relation to, for example, succession, tax, legitimacy of children, and to some extent the relation to immigration laws. Yes, some immigration laws also plays a role because in certain places, of course, now Tanzania is allowing to get the adoption by the foreign people. Yes, they have to go through the certain conditions are there, then only the adoption is valid. And you should bring to the notice of the government when the adoption is there. And bring to the notice of the court also there. And there would be endorsement by the Ministry of External Affairs on that. If I not be mistaken, please make the correction. If the foreign adoption, by the foreigners adopting the children of Tanzania, yes, there are rules are there that should be followed. So what I want to say is, like our is the English law, India, and the same Tanzania also, it taken as it is certain act, but a slight modification would be made depending upon the situation and the culture, ethical values of Tanzania. So the marriage through a contract is a sui generis. It is having its own kind. Each legal system determines the attributes of the marriage. And a common law in England, it is an essence of the consensual union of man and woman. And a celebrated or a notorious case. There is a notorious case is there. And we should not say notorious case, a landmark case, better we will say. Hyde versus Hyde. I don't know whether you, because you studied there in the private international law, this case law. Hyde versus Hyde, it was held that the marriage was voluntary union for the life of one man with a one woman to exclusion of others. That is monogamous, chastised, only one wife and one husband. And this decision was the foundation of the rule that polygamous marriages were not recognized in England, and polygamous marriages also not recognized in Tanzania as well as in India. Neither the polyandry nor the polygamous, but in certain places they will voluntarily make because it is their custom. I told you just now, in the Himalayas areas, there a woman having the two husbands. Yes, that is the custom, that entire village, entire village, they follow the same customs. So even when the divorce became, at the time, if they can go to the court of law, and I believe that there will be a problem will be there in the court, if they go to the court of law. Because court will not allow such a marriage to be a valid marriage. Because a woman could not marry the two husbands. There should not be two husbands. I don't know how do they solve the problem, because I think the problem will not come arise, because there will be a clan leader would be there and he will take the decision and he will make it, yes, you follow like this. I believe that is the only the method we will follow it. Even when a divorces become easier, the concept was maintained as a dissolubility of the marriage did not affect its legal character. This was also the position in Australia and Canada. Can Tanzania, will mutual consent, we can take the divorce? Yes. By mutual consent, can we go for the divorce? Both the husband and wife. If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, you say pass on. How could you say pass on? Because you studied the Law of Marriage Act.
There must be grounds for the divorce.
See, in the natural justice is concerned, the mutual consent, yes, it will be valid one. Yes, on the basis a court can give the divorce, but court will always see that at least 1 year should be passed when they become married. Can you marry today and tomorrow you will take the divorce mutual consent? Answer. Answer. You marry today.
Can you repeat it, sir?
You marry today. Tomorrow you can take the divorce.
No, it is until 2 years have passed.
There is a limitation is there, because the natural justice says quarrel is a common. Man is in some occasion he will become an animal and he will not take a decision properly. So in angry mood, you cannot take a decision properly. At that instant, the court say, no, you have to be at least 1 year should be there of your marriage. Then only we will think it. In the 1 year, there will be a reconciliation between the wife and husband. Are you following me? Are you following me?
Yes,
Yes,
Prof.
sir.
Why you are not giving answer? See, I want to see whether you are present or not. That is the mode of giving. It is not a one way. It is not a one way. I will ask the question, you have to give the reply. Or you ask the question, I will give the reply. Why don't you ask any questions to me? Sir, we don't have such a question, sir, to ask you. No. You have to ask the question also in some scenarios. See, quarrel is a common between the wife and husband. However, both are highly intellectuals. Highly intellectuals. And when one get angry, the another should have to keep quiet or go out without hearing. Or you can keep the earbuds in your ear. Are you following me? Say yes. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I want to see some response from you, then only I can proceed it. In India or in Tanzania, wherever it may be, doesn't matter. Because Hindu marriages actor there, here the Christian marriages actor there, and I told you that it is a sacrament and it is a civil contract. In the Muhammadan law also, in the Muslims, and it is a contract as well as a sacrosanct also. Both the things will be go together, and there would be certain laws are there where the marriage is celebrated. And the law of marriage, it will cover both the Christians and Muslims, Islam, or there is another law is there. Answer.
It will cover both.
Yeah, because I did not teach it, but I studied only because we need the private international law. So in the private international law, we should have to have the knowledge of the all, because any disputes comes in the private international law. At that instance, we have to refer the domestic law also, and we will see the domestic law whether it is domesticated or not by seeing the international instrument. If the Tanzania is a party to the convention, yes, in almost all the places, Tanzania is a party to the conventions and declarations and charters. Okay, so now the question comes over there where the formal requirement of the marriage, here the cursor I am, the formal requirement of the marriage will be governed by the law of the country where the marriage is celebrated. Now you tell me the Latin terminology in the private international law.
Lex loci celebrationi.
Very good, very good. Nimefurahi sana. I felt very happy. So where the marriage is conducted, lex loci celebrationist, and a marriage can be celebrated if the parties meet the substantial requirement of the domestic law. Substantial requirement of the domestic law. That means not procedure law. Of course, procedure also should be followed over there. but the substantial domestic law of the country where the marriage is celebrated. And one of the parties is a national of that state. But they put the condition, one of the parties is a national of that state where the marriage is conducted or habitually resides there, and each party satisfies the substantial requirement of the law applicable to the parties in accordance with the conflict of rules of the places where the marriage is celebrated. And once I told you, the two Tanzanians, a woman and a man, went to South Africa. Not two times, not woman and wife. The two Tanzanians, both are male, went to the South Africa and they married gay marriage. The answer they will say, in your country, do you marry in that way? They will ask first. And if you don't marry, then why do you come and marry here? If you want to marry here in South Africa, you should be a citizen of the South Africa. Yes, you become a citizen of the South Africa by foregoing the citizenship of the Tanzania. Yes, you can marry each other. The same sex marriages. So, read this paragraph because at any time it will stop. Of course, still 5 minutes are there. Read this paragraph.
Formal validity of marriage. A. Position in England in recent year. A common law. Formal validity of marriage. A. Position in England in recent year.
Yeah.
In recent year, the law rules have been considerable varied by statutes. Such changes are not discussed as the status would have no application outside England or United Kingdom. A marriage is formally valid when any one of the following conditions as to the form of celebration is complied with. That is to say,
Number one,
if the marriage is celebrated in accordance with the form required or recognized as sufficient by the laws of the country where the marriage was celebrated. 2. If the marriage was celebrated in accordance with the England common law in a country where the use of the local form is impossible. Number 3, if the marriage between parties of whom at least one is United Kingdom nation is celebrated outside
Mungu ibariki